This episode of the Firefighters Podcast is sponsored by William Wood Watches. Now, William Wood was actually a firefighter in Newcastle and Gateshead Fire Brigade for 25 years. He was on Blue Watch and retired in 1982. This brand was started up by a member of his family, and they give British luxury sustainable watches. All of them are made from fire service equipment. Even the strap themselves is made of fire hose. This allows the fire service and the memory of it to live on through the watches. These guys give a percentage of all of their proceeds to the Firefighters charity, supporting rescue service and workers internationally. It's a fantastic brand for us to be aligned with, and we feel really proud to have them as part of the show. You can access the website and get yourself a discount on any purchase using hashtag FFP5. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and we hope you enjoy the show. In this episode of the podcast, we welcome Jamie the Giant Christian-Johal. He is the tallest IFBB pro bodybuilder in the world and a former firefighter. This is an awesome episode where Jamie goes into some real depth, talking about the mental health of bodybuilding and how that aspect of feeling judged all the time can really weigh on athletes. We, of course, go into the eating, go into some training principles, the pandemic of performance enhancers that we see in the culture today, and the consistent, driven mindset that's required for success. This is an awesome episode with Jamie, and we really feel privileged to come on the show and share his knowledge of the industry. We hope you enjoy listening. Jamie, welcome to the Firefighters Podcast.
Thank you very much for having me on.
How you doing, brother? You all right?
I'm not bad, thank you. Looking forward to it.
How was training today, my man? I see you've just finished.
Yeah, it was very good. It was an easy session today in terms of output, because it's arms,
yeah,
but still a very important session.
I was going to say easy session is the humble brag there. What you call an easy session, I think most 90% of the population probably would die, to be fair.
I would just compare the arm session to like a leg session, which is obviously a lot more
taxing. Arms is fun. Yeah. I always enjoy an arm session. Everybody loves a bro arm session.
A little bit.
Yeah, and that's why they actively avoid the big deads, the big squats, any of that big compound full body stuff. Bench press will high five over it all day long.
Yeah, definitely.
As soon as somebody starts bringing in the squats and the deads, it's not a fun situation. But we're here in your gym, beautiful place.
We're in the nail bar in the beauty room.
Absolutely, but it's empty, dude. What's the crack? We're obviously mid. We're coming out the back end of COVID now.
We are, and we're opening next Saturday, so we're only got a week left.
Awesome.
Which very excited for, to get people back in the gym.
You must have had members chomping at the bit, because physical health and mental health, to be fair, are something that run like side by side. I bet you've had people screaming out, struggling to get that aspect of it.
Yeah, it's massive, and I think one thing we could probably touch on in the podcast today is mental health, and the fact that people associate training and this lifestyle with improvement of mental health.
Yeah.
But what I would say is, when you go to the end of the spectrum, like many things, when you work at the extreme, it's possibly not a good thing. So for myself, bodybuilders at the extreme to the level we compete at, it's damaging. It's detrimental to your mental health, because
massively
you are constantly looking at yourself, analysing yourself, judging yourself. You're never good enough.
You're actually encouraged to overly critique yourself.
Yes.
And not only that, you compete in a sport that is so subjective.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is 100-metre sprint is 100-metre sprint, yeah? How fast can you get from here to there? Yeah. If you're faster than him, there's no what colour you are, what ratio, or anything like that. You've won. Whereas in your sport, yes, it's all equality and diversity and everything like that, but it's subjective. You're going to stand in front of somebody. It's art at the end of the day. And somebody's going to go, I think that photo looks great. I think it looks crap. Yeah. And then that must be, you've said about mental health, it must be a complete mind boggle when you're having to compare yourself constantly, and there's a little bit of guesswork in there, surely, as well.
There is guesswork, and the problem is with today's society is obviously social media, which makes it twice as worse, or probably 100 times as worse than it used to be, because now you're comparing yourself to people's pictures, which are photoshopped,
filtered, everything.
There's angles.
Yeah.
You know, I take a crap photo because I'm tall, so I have to stand back from the lens, and I know that myself. But
it's like 15 feet away. We're taking this giant.
I'm constantly trying to look better in a photo, or to me, look like I should. And it never transfers.
Should. So. That's a great word.
Yeah, should.
And who is in control of the should? Do you know what I mean?
Well,
the sport dictates it to us.
Yeah.
But I love what you say there about the social media and the dynamic that's played, because let's head our minds back 30 plus years now. People first probably saw bodybuilding and things like that when pumping iron and things emerged.
Yep.
Back then, competitors would actively keep themselves hidden until even the day before or the day of.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And there'd be a hell of a lot of, I'm just going to bring my best game. Whereas now, every single day. Instagram, Facebook, what's so-and-so doing? How do you stay focused on you? Because I talk to people about controlling the controllables. You can't control what somebody else is doing.
You can't.
Jamie can control what he's doing. That's it.
I mean, I use people as motivation. You know, people I see who look good. Well, fuck. I got to up my game. I got to look as good as that. Yeah. So you can't look at other people as a negative.
No.
There's always going to be negative comments bouncing around, but that's just the beauty of the game, I guess. That society. There's always some trolls hiding under some bridges somewhere.
And a lot of that is just noise, like you say. How do you develop that sort of mental fortitude to try and block that out? Because it ain't just, not like a normal sport that have other competitors throwing stones at them. Bodybuilding is very, very unique. When the haters come out, they're in force.
Yeah.
There's plenty of them out here, bless them.
I think it's a personal trait. It's an attribute to you, whether you have it or not, whether you can use that negative energy as fuel or not.
Yeah,
I've always been one of these people that's had to prove people wrong constantly, and especially being a tall bodybuilder at 6'5".
Yeah,
you know yourself how hard it is to build muscle
people
as a taller guy.
You ain't got the genetics for it.
Yeah, you're too tall. And there's people that come to me as a coach, as a client, trying to get my services, that think I've got some magic cure for them because I've managed to do it.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just time, it's hard work, it's consistency, dedication. But the fire is lit initially and keeps burning because of that energy that you're getting from people that say you can't do it.
Yeah. I love what you said there, that the word that stands out to me is consistency.
Yeah.
Because a lot of, when we talk about your role as a coach there, because you've helped an enormous amount of people make big changes in their life. But a lot of things you see pitched in the fitness world, and I'm sure as a gym owner you see it as well.
Yeah.
People look at them as time blocks, as in, here is a 10-day whatever, here's a 4-week whatever, the sheer, my always thoughts when I work in the industry is when you bookend something with time caps, you are automatically suggesting this is a temporary approach. Don't worry, Jamie. I'm just asking you to do this for X, for a week, for a month, for whatever. Do you think that thought process in itself? Because people, as you say, will come to you and go, "Oh man, you've been doing it. How long did it take this? How many weeks do I have to do that for?" Yeah. It's a lifestyle.
It is.
How do you get that across to people? Because there must be that they're so stuck in this Joe Wicks 10-week, James Smith, whatever.
I think it just takes time.
Yeah,
it takes time working with someone to explain and get them to understand that the only way to get the results they want is to be consistent over time and make doing the 6 meals a day, training, the water intake, the salt intake, the sleep, the stress management, all the pieces to the puzzle, the lifestyle, the norm.
Yeah.
Instead of, we're doing this for 6 weeks, or the diet starts on Monday.
Yeah.
So this Sunday, we're going to have a blowout because the diet starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
Why are they going to make your job harder by eating all that the day before? It's like the Last Supper.
I always speak to people about like resolutions. I hate resolutions. People get like a New Year's resolution, and we're stuck in this archaic analogy of a calendar where we go, Sunday is X, so Monday starts on Monday, starts in January, sober October, whatever, it starts in. If you've acknowledged, like if you found an issue with your training today, or you just came across something enlightening that somebody told you, and you knew that was going to be a positive change for your life. So for people, it might be discovering a calorie deficit, it might be whatever, it might be a violent relationship they realise they're in. Yeah. If you've made the realisation then, that's the time to make the change. They tend to go, no, I'll wait for this arbitrary starting point.
Yeah.
How do you help people understand that, look, you've made the change now? Because I'm sure a lot of them want to wait for the new month, the new week. Yeah,
they do. And, a lot of people that I have applied to my coaching practice will say, I want to start at the end of this month, which is 2-3 months in advance. Well, why are you waiting? You've got progress to be making. You can be ahead of the game. Just think that where you could be then if you start now.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do have this forward-thinking mindset. But, I mean, what I do, and obviously proved by leaving the fire service, is you have to live in the now. And that's why we talk about another subject. This could get big, but pensions.
Pensions.
In the fire service, the pensions.
Right, yeah.
I come out of the pension after literally 6 months of being in the fire service. And everyone's like saying, you can't come out of the pension. It's the best pension you'll ever have, blah, 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 blah. Look, I live in the now. So I can invest in my future now. And
there's an element there as well about how much you step out as an independent guy and just look after yourself. I think there's an element within that people think someone at some point is going to look after, someone is going to look after me. And you're like, look, don't hope for that.
No.
Great if it happens, fantastic. But don't put all your fish in that barrel.
No.
So you said that you've obviously left the fire service. Some people, I imagine a lot of people, know Jamie as IFBB Pro, international bodybuilder, but you were once a firefighter. I mean, I've seen your firefighter calendar stuff as well. So this is when things started to turn and you started to become more visible in the public.
Yeah.
But when did you first have the idea of becoming a firefighter?
I was actually a police officer before I was a fireman.
Were you really?
Yeah. So
you've almost done the spectrum.
I joined the police at 19. I left the police when I was 21. So yeah, I joined the police when I was 19. It ended quite suddenly because I got in a fight out drinking.
Magic. Okay. And they're not a huge fan of that, are they?
I was still a young lad. My lifestyle was very different back then.
Yeah.
But having left the job, I was a car salesman. I'd worked in a restaurant for a number of years before I joined the police. I went back and worked there as a manager. So I'd done various jobs, and I thought, what can I do that is a career that's quite solid, that pays a decent wage, that has a decent shift pattern, because I need my time off my training. Of
course.
Fire service just fit.
It is awesome in that respect.
Yeah, and a lot of people said, it's hard to get into the fire service, And to be honest with you, it was really easy. I don't know.
It's an absolute lottery, mate. I don't think anybody's ever worked it out how to do it. Some people get it, some people don't.
I think I was dropped lucky, got through, and then that was it. But to be fair, when I joined the fire service, that's when I really started to go down the whole of the bodybuilding.
Okay.
So
the whole of the bodybuilding.
Yeah, the rabbit hole.
The rabbit warren, as it were, yeah.
And I remember on my training, I was dieting for a competition, the 12 or 16 week training.
Yeah.
Where you should be, putting all your eggs in that basket and concentrating on that full force.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking on this training course, am I going to be able to eat my next meal? And I was thinking, that's really bad. Like, this is the job that potentially I'll be doing for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I'm focusing on this other thing more.
Yeah.
But it was just an eye-opener. From then on, when I would pass down to my station, they knew me as the bodybuilder.
Yeah.
The fire service was always my second job.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding was always the first job.
Yeah.
And it just got worse.
I always think about bodybuilding, and you'll be the best person to answer the question. It will take as much as you're willing to give it.
Yeah.
And I love, that's why I picked up when you said hole, because not like it's a black hole, but for those that really, really want to make it, you can go as deep as you want to go. I mean, I came in here today and you know, this is post-workout, you think on a normal day, the scales are out. You know, you're not necessarily, well, you're always obviously trying to stay in condition and stay tracking.
Yeah.
But there's nothing happening in the next few weeks necessarily. There's no comp coming. Obviously, it's COVID. Yeah. But it's that professional mindset to everything that you do. And that started really, really on for you. So you were already doing this at 18, 19.
Yeah, so I started training when I was 16. Got more and more serious as the years went on. I think when I joined the fire service, we're talking 23.
23.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
Wow.
So, and by that point, I was in deep.
Yeah. Had you already hit first competitions before then? Or?
I'd done a few like local shows.
Yeah.
I think I'd done one major show. But I remember that year I was competing in the body power in May. That was my first year on station. And I was competing in, potentially that was my biggest show so far.
Yeah.
So that
a lot of people know body power, the NEC in Birmingham. It's so for the UK especially, it's like a melting pot of fitness. There is just everything going on there. What was your first comp? What was your first ever one?
It was called the Muscle Tone Classic.
Beautiful.
And that was the gym I went to, the Muscle Tone Gym in Stapleford in Nottingham. And that was just like an in-house show between all the guys that went and trained there. Basically like a competition.
Yeah. A little gym promo sort of thing going on.
Name up on the wall if you win.
Yeah.
And I did that in 2009.
How was that?
I didn't come anywhere.
Okay.
But it was a fantastic experience.
Yeah.
I went back the next year, 2010, and I won. And I went and won in 2011. And then they actually stopped me from competing in 2012 because I was too good.
Big fish, small pond.
They said if I competed, there'd be like so many people that wouldn't do the show and they wouldn't have a show to put on. So that's when I just thought, you know what, we'll go down the UK BFF route.
Yeah.
2012 Body Power, won that. And then I actually met the wife that is now the wife.
Congratulations.
I had 2 years off competing in 13 and 14 and went back in 15 as a super heavyweight. I think I was...
Was that a conscious break so that you could put the weight on to come in at super heavyweight, or you do?
Not really. Okay. It was something at the time that was like a break for the strength of the relationship because there was no space for both.
No.
But after we were married in 2014, I was like, really want to compete again. You know, this is something that I love and I miss. And it's going to be part of our relationship if the relationship's going to last.
Yeah.
Because it's me.
Yeah.
Wife's fully supportive of that. She pushed me to compete, pushed me to get a coach for the first time ever, which was a massive thing. And then in 2015, I became the British champion. So it was just like, sky's the limit from there.
So when you did your very first competition, just in that local gym, it must have been a strange thing for a lot of your people around you. I often say to people, we've had Olympians, Paralympians and stuff on the show, and they've said a lot of the time that when they start on this new life and it starts to gain speed like yours has, there's not room, as you've kind of alluded to there, for either partner or whatever, but certainly for a lot of the old friends and the group that they were once associated with, it's like their new life costs them their old life. And that's not a bad thing as such. But I speak to a lot of people about the value of association and the people that you surround yourself with. What was your support like from those around you who knew old Jamie and were mates and whatever with old Jamie, and they loved old Jamie? Now he's going for something unreal. I don't know who this guy is. What was the feedback like from those around you, family or friends? Or
I think I've still got what I would class as 3 of my original friends. And I was a popular guy at school. Mm-hmm. I was a popular guy as a, early 20s guy going out drinking and whatnot. When I pulled myself away from that circle and spent more time in the gym, I lost a lot of friendships. Yep. People didn't understand that, you can't go out. You can't have a meal off. You can't have a pizza. Like, why?
Yeah, it's just a totally different mindset.
Yeah, and that different mindset, people couldn't compute with that, couldn't get used to it. And through my own kind of wishes, it just backed off and they phased out. Family, very supportive, luckily. I don't think my mum and my dad's ever missed a show. So,
wow, that is huge, because I know people in the sport who have not had that level of support from the family because of what they feel it's doing to the person, just like the force feeding and the eating and seeing you in pain, constant training. Yeah. It's hard to watch what you have to go through.
I mean, my nana, bless her, she's always said, "You're not taking drugs, are you?" I'm like, no, we don't have to do that. But obviously, the sport involves that kind of thing. So from the age of 25, that's when I started taking performance enhancements, because you got to be on a level playing field with people. If it adds to your life, which it does, because bodybuilding is my livelihood. Yep. So there's support. There's ways to do things, I think, in today's society that are safe, or safe as can be. I get blood tested, etc. But on the flip side of that, there's a bit of you could call it a pandemic with performance enhancements and steroids, because it just seems like every man and the dog's on them.
It is such a social, it's a recreational drug now.
And from such a young age as well. Yeah. I mean, I tell my clients, if they're wanting to start something, we discuss how many years training you got behind you, how many weeks have you gone without skipping a meal, family situation, work situation, mental situation. The mental headspace of taking something like that, it just accentuates all your personality and traits that some people just can't handle it.
But people live in a bubble when they think this stuff doesn't exist, and they hone it into bodybuilding. Yeah. But it's everywhere. It is everywhere.
It is, and even people on these Love Island channels, and what the thing I don't like is the fact that they deem that then not to be hard work. Like drugs make it easy. No, they don't. You still got to work as hard, and obviously the better you get, the harder you have to work anyway. Yeah. Does it make it easier to come by gains? In inverted commas, probably, because you've got that hormonal response then, but you still need to do everything else.
Do the action. Yeah. You said a lot about the stress aspect of it. Now, when you live in a world like you do, where you're tracking everything, there's demands on your training, you run a business as well. How do you balance that stress aspect from so much judgment and stones being thrown, and then how do you balance that? Especially with the partner as well, and this is just a big
support.
Can't
do it by yourself.
I love that. A lot of people think that some people are just out there soldiering on with an infallible mind.
I think to a point you've got to do things by yourself, but obviously to assist that and keep the stress off, you need the support of others. It's as simple as that, and it's about offloading stress, offloading tasks. I'll be the first one to admit that today, this was out of my comfort zone, because my day is ran like a robot. Yeah. Once you get your head around something, I have to think about something and get my head around it, and then I can control the variables and put it in that plan. Yeah. It's got to be planned. If someone knocked on my door at 8 o'clock at night, I'd be thinking, who's that?
Yeah.
If I was my mum, I'd turn her away.
Yeah. I hate people, especially in the fire service, because you work an 8-day rotation. It changes every week.
Yeah.
And the same with yourself. People think you're just sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
And they're like, look, if you need me,
Yeah.
I can make time for you. Of course you can. But what are you up to? I'm busy.
Let me know.
I'm busy. Just let me know. I'll make time for it.
Yeah.
But I'm not just sitting around waiting for somebody to knock on the door.
No.
I'm not just waiting for somebody to ring me. I'm
I
busy.
think that's a big thing. Things for me need to be factored in. They need to be planned. I need to know about them in advance to get my head around it, to get the stress lowered. If things come at me and I'm not ready for them, then it's a bit like,
yeah.
That's
where that support structure comes in.
Now I've got to react.
Comes in even heavier.
Yeah.
You spoke a little bit about coaching people. Now, this has actually become a huge part of what you do, and one of the biggest ways I suppose you're able to pay forward a lot of your knowledge. When I speak to a lot of coaches and PTs, they have this massive imposter syndrome where they think some of the fundamentals that they're able to master aren't really worth anything because it comes so everyday to them. Yeah. We spoke about some of your everyday habits before we came on, but for people to develop them, it's like banging the steel to try and harden it every single day. It only happens through repetition. When did you get to the point where you felt confident enough to start passing on your knowledge and supporting other people with it?
I was actually in the fire service.
Nice.
On my night shifts, I'd regularly sit and I would write out diets and training programs, and I'd sell them for 25 quid each.
Now, you've had some huge successes and you've gone on to compete at the NEC. That was when it must have started getting... So when did you open the gym?
That was 2017, so that was 5 years on.
Yeah.
But from 2012, my first major title was 2015.
Yeah.
British Championship super heavyweight overall winner. And then when that was kind of, okay, we're quite good at this.
Yeah.
That was when the thought of turning professional really started to grow.
What does that mean in the industry? Because people might see professional and it might be hard for them to comprehend in a bodybuilding environment. What's the difference?
So if you turn professional in the IFBB, that is the road to the Mr. Olympia contest. Mr. Olympia contest is the biggest bodybuilding contest in the world. It's like the Champions League final.
Beauty.
But there's only one way to get there, and that's to become an IFBB professional bodybuilder.
Right.
And you can only do that through one federation. At the time, it was the UKBFF. Now it's a federation called the Two Bros.
Okay.
You can compete abroad, but it has to be sanctioned by the IFBB. So it's very hard to get a pro card. I mean, locally, there's not one other pro. The closest pro that I know is in Rotherham. And there's several pros dotted around the UK, but with a minority of millions of people. And I'm the only pro in the world at 6'5", so I'm the tallest ever.
Wow.
IFBB professional bodybuilder, which is quite good.
That's awesome.
And a lot of the time I don't really think about that.
Yeah.
But it's like, okay, there's a lot of these guys at 5'8", 5'10".
Yeah. It makes your story even greater in ways because you're a minority within the minority.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, you're a freak within the freaks.
Yes.
And it really breaks the mold for a lot of people that think that, as you've already alluded to, genetics is a huge barrier.
Yeah.
But clearly, if you've just got the commitment to overcome that, then your relentless attitude's managed to get you there. How long has it taken you to get the weight on? Because I always found when I was training, the training's easy. It's fun, but it's automated. You can do that. It's the eating.
Yeah.
I mean, how much of a slog is that for you? What are you intaking on a daily basis now?
Well, my maintenance was like 8,000. Damn. That's a lot of food. Just to
a lot of food.
Maintain body weight. Yeah. And so then you have to consider, right, do we eat more or do we try and move less? And okay. I'm almost trying to actively be lazy.
Yeah. And it's efficiencies at the end of the day.
Yeah. Me and my missus had an argument about, it's probably 6 months ago. We don't argue a lot at all, but I distinctly remember this argument because I hit her with this quote and I said, I have a job that requires me to be lazy.
Yeah. I'm trying to grow something.
And she understands, but at the time it's very annoying. But
well, at the end of the day, you've spoke about getting support from people around you. It's about you doing what you can do best.
Yeah.
And basically subbing out everything else. I need to eat and grow this body.
Yeah.
And my most powerful thing is also my knowledge and my drive.
Yeah.
So you use that in your coaching and things like that. But outside of that, like you say, it's not in your best interest, or anybody else's for you to be messing about with other things.
No, it's not, exactly. And that's why I don't do any hours in the gym. The gym's fully staffed. I'm just happy if the gym supports enough to pay the staff and keep the bills paid. That's it. I don't care if I take a penny out of the gym or not.
Yeah.
It's my place to train. It facilitates lifestyle.
Yeah.
And the stress is off because people run it for me. That's it.
Was part of getting a gym bringing that control inside? Because there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of just bodybuilders in general that don't have their own gym.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty huge step. It's a pretty huge outlay.
Yeah,
people do that just as a full-time job in itself.
Yeah.
When was your decision going to be that I'm doing this, I'm going to be a professional in this, but I'm also going to become a businessman?
In 2000, after 2015, when I won the super heavyweights, I went for my pro card in 2016 and 17. And I quickly, in 2016, and I quickly realised that although I was prioritising bodybuilding over the fire service anyway, if you can imagine me being stressed at doing the fire service, you can imagine how much time away from that I needed to focus on the bodybuilding. Yeah. So the gym came up for offer at the back end of 2016, and it was just like a no-brainer. At first, I didn't even really consider what owning a gym would feel or be like. Yeah, it was just a way out. Yeah, and I needed that way out. Yeah. Many people said, "Why don't you do both?" Like most firemen do. Yeah, yeah. But I'm all or nothing. Yeah, just like it's probably quite clear.
It's got to be. And anybody that, because we've spoken before about addicts and things like that. I know I'm an addict. I have an addictive personality. That's who I am. And it took me a lot of support, coaching and stuff to understand that that's not a bad thing. No. I think we vilify it a lot in cultures. But anybody, yourself included, who's achieved a certain amount of success in anything will have an obsessive, an OCD, an intense, an addictive personality. It's almost an automatic entry requirement to achieve success in anything, but it's quite alienating for people. Does your intensity? Do people struggle with your intensity sometimes?
I think so. Yeah. Obviously, this is going to sound very weird to people probably listening as well. But obviously, you said when we was meeting up, can I just jump in a few sets? Yeah. And I'm like, well,
dude, that's not even a thing. What does that even mean? A few sets of what? You moron.
I've found myself in my head. It's logical to be the way I am. Yeah. And the questions people ask me in my head are stupid. Yeah. I'm not calling you stupid.
No, go on.
But I'm thinking, why does this guy think he's just going to jump in a few sets when I take this so seriously? And I'm a nice guy. Yeah. So to be this person is not natural to me.
It's much harder to do through the written word as well, isn't it?
Yes.
When you write,
I want to say, yeah, of course, mate, don't worry about it. But I think the fact is, at the minute, I'm in prep. I've got 2 other people training with me that are competing. So in terms of bodybuilding training, 4s are definitely a crowd. It's not just you, so don't get offended. No. But do you know what? Yeah. A guy who's a bodybuilder who follows me on Instagram comments all the time. He lives in Kent or Portsmouth, somewhere down south, like miles away. Yeah. He said, Jamie, this is a few weeks ago. Jamie, I'm in Ilkeston next week. I appreciate your gym's probably still closed, but we're on like talking terms. Do you mind if I have a quick session? I said, to be honest, mate, I'm not in the gym that day. I'm on a rest day, and I was training.
Rest day.
So anyway, he comes by the gym. He comes in the gym, and I'm stood there with the 2 guys I'm training with. I'm behind the counter, and he comes to me and he says, "Oh, I just thought I'd catch you on the off chance if you're here. Do you mind if I have a session?" I looked at him in the eye and I said, "No." Yeah. And he was like, "Oh, okay."
Why have you created this situation? Yeah. Why have you just done that?
Yeah. Why have you done this to me?
Why have you done that?
Why have you made me feel like a bad guy?
Yeah. You didn't need to create this situation. Doesn't matter what the reason was. I said no, didn't I?
I think you touched on like intensity, and does my intensity offend people? I think sometimes it does, because a lot of people associate what I do with just general gym going. Yeah. The gym is a social environment. It's where people go to talk, where they go to wind down, where they go to relax, get the stress out from the day, arguing with the missus. It's my job. Yeah. It's a place of business. It's where I get my work done. And every second in the session counts. Yeah. And I just need that focus. I need people around me that kind of click and know that what page we're on. And that's the level it's at now.
That's the level it needs to be at as well.
It does need to be there. I mean, I get clients obviously asking me all the time, "Can I have a one-to-one with you? I'll pay you for a one-to-one." Yeah. Well, that hour or 2 hours it's going to take me, you could give me 200 quid, it wouldn't be worth it. Yeah. And that's why I do online coaching, because we're controlling stress. Yep. People are at arm's length. Yep. And I'm happy with that. Yeah.
It sounds harsh, but like you say, it's got to be, you want to know what works. You can clearly see, I know what works, but I'm only able to do this because I can detach from all of the noise that the rest of you are dealing with.
Yeah.
Messing about in your socials, you know, worrying about the news, worrying about the weather, all that.
Yeah.
I can't have that noise in my life.
No.
Otherwise I would not be able to operate on this frequency.
Yeah.
And I can't allow it to be distorted by things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So have you had the same training partners for a long time, or because that's a pretty intense thing? We're talking about choosing a relationship.
Yeah.
Having the right training partner can make or break it, really.
Well, one's just come into the fray recently because I've known him a long time. People on the podcast might know him as the Viking, Josh from Loughborough.
I see Josh, yeah.
Yep. He's come into the fray quite recently because I've known him for a long time, as I said. And he's actually been training in his front room for all of lockdown.
So bless him.
About 4 weeks ago now, I said, Josh, what are you doing, man? I said, things have eased up a little bit. People are a little bit more relaxed. I've not been letting anybody in the gym apart from a guy called Jimmy, who's on the Trained by JP team, who I'm sponsored by. His gym that he was using at the start of lockdown was letting like 20, 30 people in, so they quickly got shut down. Yeah. And he was desperate. So it's like, okay, me and you in the gym, it'll be cool. You know, the gym's not open, not letting loads of people in. But recently Josh has come in, so there's 3 of us. But I do honestly think that will stay for quite a long time. We're all on the same page with how we train. We use a logbook. Volume, intensity, sets and reps, and how much you do in a session is very important. And it's important that you're on the same page, because I like to do, and this might mean something to certain people, not others, but I like to do 12 sets per workout. Okay. Doesn't seem like a lot. It's quite low volume. But every one of those sets is like high intensity, full balls to the wall. Some people might do 20, 25, 30 sets in a workout because not all those sets are intense. Yeah. So I could never train with someone like that. So to find people on the same wavelength, similar strength levels, similar goals is very hard. But
that reminds me a lot of Dorian Yates' approach to training.
Yeah.
He was not massive on massive sets, but his intensity was through the roof. Yeah. You know, through the roof.
My view is, if you're going to do a hack squat or a big exercise like a deadlift, then how have you got enough energy to fully exert yourself in 20 minutes 4 times? Yeah. You should be going that hard. Yeah. That one time. Yeah. I'm done.
Yeah, you fall off like a withered whatever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And then we talk about stress response. So that is going to accumulate so much stress in your nervous system and in your muscles physically, that if you did 4 of those, you couldn't recover from that. No. So then it becomes a game of managing recovery.
Yeah, I speak to people about the general adaptation syndrome, as you allude to there, and remaining as high in, but as still within that adaptation phase before you move into exhaustion. Yeah. Because the level of intensity you train at, have you ever had it where it's tipped into an unsustainable and your immune system crashes or you pick up an injury? They're tough lessons to learn.
Before I started working with, Jordan Peters? Yeah. So before I started working with Jordan, that was a year ago in May. I was very much, what's the right word to kind of describe it? An instinctive trainer. Okay. So I'd come in the gym, I'd look around, that looks good today, I'll do that. Really? And I'd do 3 sets on everything. So it's only really for the last year I've done this logbook training, I've really lowered my volume. Before, I was a 25 set, 30 set guy. Okay. And let's take a leg day, for example. I just take it that far that I would not stop cramping for at least another day, maybe 2 days. Wow. To the point that I'd have to get a bath ran at 4 o'clock in the morning because I was cramping up that hard in bed. Yeah. The only way to relieve myself was getting the bath. And it's just too much. That's just telling you then, that's alarm bells. We've done too much here.
But people sometimes think that should be surely what you need to do because, we're up against it, But like you say, you've gone too far.
You know I always use the analogy of digging a hole. Yeah. So every session you need to dig that hole, but you need to be able to climb out. At the end of every session before, I was digging that hole so deep that by the time the next session comes around, I was still crawling out.
You're still crawling out. Yeah. No,
how do you ever backfill that? So
what injuries have you ever had as a result of your training?
Touch wood. Not many.
Oh, brother.
Not many. I've had a few lower back injuries. Yeah. But I think that comes with the territory of being tall. Yeah. So now I just don't really train without a belt. If it is anything heavy, I always wear a belt.
Have you ever witnessed any big ones?
I've not seen any bad injuries in front of my eyes, but I don't know whether normal people think like this, but even when I'm with my training partners or when I see someone do something heavy, I think, I hope his leg doesn't snap. Yeah. It's just, and I'm trying to say, don't think like that, don't think like that. And I'm watching the guy do it.
I was never smart enough. I never got that. So I had a prolapse disc in my back. Yeah. I've had varicose vein surgery on both my legs. Okay. I had cortisone in the shoulder twice.
Wow.
this pec, you may or may not see it right now, I'll show you afterwards. I've tore my entire pec off. So we've got big scar tissue down here. Yeah. That was like rep 7 on 195, and it just came straight off the bone. So yeah, we're 3 surgeries deep, and still trying to learn the lessons. Because I think I've spoke before on the podcast about the governor and your internal trigger that tells your body to switch off. Now, just simply the fact you've been able to achieve what you've achieved, you've been able to push through a lot of psychological barriers. But you've clearly recognised, or is it through the support of someone like Jordan, when enough is enough? Because I never managed that. I kept thinking that my body's saying, "Oh, stop," and I'm like, "No, you're just moaning at me. You're just moaning at me," and then snap. But you've had the self-awareness not to do that, and you're clearly training hard enough to do it. So
yeah, I think, to be fair, my body's been quite resilient. I've noticed as soon as I pass 30, you definitely get more injuries, and you definitely take longer to recover. Yeah, but I think I've always been in tune with things feeling right or wrong. And I've been lucky, I guess, as well, in terms of not having serious injuries. But it's only been for the last year where I've really put a massive emphasis on recovery. And I'm the same as most people in the sense that you say, well, if I only knew what I know now back then, I'd be so much better, so much quicker.
Yeah. The wisdom of hindsight for everybody.
But there we go. I'm 34 years old, 35 in August. I've still got, I think, 5-6 years in what would say the bodybuilder's prime to make a statement in the industry. And
do you think the prime finishes that soon? Because I know the industry's changed a lot, but I mean, you Ronnie Coleman's of the world, and people like they didn't start till they were like in their 30s.
I'll put it like this: I'm not going to be racist. I'm not a racist person, but if you're 45, you can add. If you're black, you can add 5 years. So the prime might go to 45.
It is a different.
Look at
genetics.
Dexter Jackson.
Absolutely, Dexter. The blade is just incredible.
White guys traditionally burn out quicker.
Okay,
and I think 40. It's just a nice round number. You know, we might push 41 or 42, but it just depends how the body holds up.
We'll see how you are when you get there.
Yeah, you don't find many white guys above 40 doing well in the pro ranks.
No.
Whereas your black guys...
You don't see many 6'5" still either, though.
No, exactly.
So there's...
I might burn out
there's
quicker.
things to be broken here.
We'll see.
I don't know about that.
We'll see.
So you've spoken there about recovery. I've become like a blooming gadget fiend with stuff like this. I do ice cold immersion and stuff like that. Like, have you looked at some of the Wim Hof stuff you ever heard about? Oh, man. So... there's loads and loads of benefits. Obviously, physiologically, for muscle recovery and stuff like that, we all know about ice cold baths. Sports athletes have been doing it for years and years and years. But when we talk about controlling stress, Wim Hof, look it up when you're bored with Mrs. Lady. You go, what's that bloody idiot talking about? Let's just have a flipping look at what he was actually on about. Norepinephrine and adrenaline and things like that. When you step into cold water, spikes your adrenaline and your cortisol. So cortisol being your stress hormone. Spikes that fast and immediately.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything you go through vasoconstriction, which is hard to manipulate other than cold water immersion for full body vasoconstriction. But the big game changer is your lymphatic system. Okay. So your lymphatic system is where your dead cells go back. People only think of lymph glands when somebody gets cancer because they get it in the lymph glands and then it's game over. When you go through cold water immersion, it's one of the very few hormesis actions where you can actually contract the lymphatic system. Okay. Because other things you can do vasodilation, constriction through supplements and whatever. Yeah. Ice cold immersion, honestly, is one of the few things. So I got a big bath, and it's always full with ice. Wow! And you submerge yourself only for about 4 minutes. But from a health perspective, it is absolutely enormous. Your adrenaline spikes, your cortisol, norepinephrine, and it flushes the system incredibly. You see people like Eddie Hall and stuff like that. They've now got hyperbaric chambers, which effectively do a similar thing, and they can do I forget what the freeze chambers are called as well. Massive game changer. Cryotherapy. Thank you. But that's one side of the recovery. But what other things have you noticed that help you? So I started getting into rumble rollers and all that sort of stuff like 5 years ago because there's knots I just couldn't get through.
Yeah, well, I've got a hedgehog.
Beautiful.
Which is, do you know which one? What
yeah, I've got one off Amazon.
Yeah, so they're fantastic for just cracking your back. Oh, there's nothing that cracks your back like one of them. So I try and get on that every day. But the biggest thing that I would say that I think helps my recovery, after every leg day, after every back day, without fail, I will have a red hot bath. Beauty. And I just think that increases all that blood flow. Yeah. It just, if I don't have it, I know about it. Yeah. It definitely improves the rate that you recover. And especially, like I said, after 30 I'll notice more injuries, more niggles and pains, and the lower back gets smashed. So I need to get some heat on that.
This is where you can start really manipulating the recovery process. Yeah. Because when people start getting into what is actually depleted in my system during this process, if I can increase vitamins, minerals, you spoke about salts and things like that, and then I can speed up the heat and cold recovery process. That's when I look deep down into a lot of the pros. That's how they're able to do such incredible intense, like you've said, the intensity of a training session on such a regular basis. What would normally just break another human being. How much do you rely on things like massage and things like that to help you?
I think it's essential. You know, obviously through lockdown it's been difficult, but normally I would get one sports massage a week. Without fail. I'll obviously have my 2, 3, 4 baths a week, however many leg or back days I'd do. I'd go on the hedgehog. One thing I don't do, which I really should, and I've been telling myself for years, and there's loads of people out there, more stretching.
More stretching, baby.
More stretching, but...
It's one of the 4 fundamentals. All my clients I go through stretching. We stretch when we're a kid. Do you know what I mean? If you were going out to play football or something like that, I'm going to stretch, because we're going to stretch. There's something so strange, and I don't think we recognise the gym as a sport is perhaps the problem. We look at it like a bolt-on. I'm going to do some gym work to help my sport. When the gym is your sport, you need to stretch for your sport, especially the load that you put through your body. And when I think of people such as Phil Heath for one, but I mean Jay Cutler, they've got stretch clinics in America. If you've seen them, a lot of them pop up next to gyms. It's not a massage place. They specifically just do assisted stretching with the athletes.
So that's what I think I need. I need someone to do it for me. I'm that uncomfortable with the idea of doing it. That somebody else doing it for me would be fantastic. And I just book in once a week, stretch me.
It might be something we do afterwards. I do it for a lot of my clients. I started doing it 20 minutes at the end or 20 minutes at the beginning of a session. Now, we'll just do one specific stretch session for the entire week. We do manipulation, we do stretching. Because what some people would also feel awkward with, it's quite an intimate thing. It's more so than a massage, to be honest, because the positions you both get into
I can imagine.
are very, very close, especially for somebody of your size. You need a big person to bend and snap you. But it's a massive, massive part, and as Phil and Jay were alluding to, that's the biggest investment they make is the investment you make in yourself. So now you've started doing the massage and stuff like that. We're getting into the depths of sustainability now.
I think people would see this as an extra cost. But
it's money I could be spending on supplements, food, a better house. I said to my wife, we'd save a bit of money and do this. Now I'm paying for a stretch session every week. When does it end?
When does it end? But when your goals govern that it's required, it's just, it is what it is. And things have to fund that lifestyle. So you need to be working. You need to be hustling and getting out there and making the change and paying the bills.
How much do you think, speaking about that and hustling and getting out there, how much do you think social media has been a game changer for a lot of athletes? Because you've got some fantastic sponsors. Back in the day, one of the worst parts of this sport is how underfunded it is for athletes. And it very much was just a passion. You were just a busy fool. Do you know what I mean? Until you stood on the stage once a year, nobody cared. It's
been absolutely massive. If I think about someone like Dorian Yates, he was a gym owner, but I don't know whether he worked as a builder or something. He's working his arse off and doing this at the same time. Without social media, I wouldn't be able to have the lifestyle I have. Wouldn't be able to be an online coach, because online coach probably wouldn't be a thing.
Wasn't a thing. You were writing out Excel sheets and sending them in a post.
It'd be very difficult.
And no one was sticking to them.
And I'll be honest with you could probably resonate with this as well, obviously having the extra income from coaching, that if I was just on the fire service wage, I'd struggle.
A lot of people do these days.
Because it's not enough.
I know.
I don't know how people support a lifestyle of any warrantability and have holidays and any luxuries in life on a basic salary like that.
It's really become difficult for a lot of emergency services.
I've said it time and time again, and more so through this lockdown. It's just kind of really solidified that statement that they don't get paid enough. Emergency services, you say it, don't you, when you look at the police, look at the fire service, look at the ambulance, look at the jobs they go to. I wouldn't want to do that.
No.
And you look at what they get paid and you think, I definitely want to do that.
Definitely want to do it. Because you want to go, it's tough, but at least to get, oh, right, really?
They warrant.
What, and you're doing nights and it's like, right, okay.
When they get a pay rise of the grand a year, I think that every emergency service staff member should be getting paid a basic salary of at least 50 grand a year. That seems like it's more warranted.
There's so many careers. I think a career these days is that it's 8 years. People do things for a set period of time, and then they change their hats, as it were. You spoke about some of the things you've recognised more within lockdown.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got a partner. You run a business, which, especially a gym, has been very challenging for a lot of people across the UK. What's been some of the because I think it's hard for people to see the good takeaways. Yeah. What's been some of the better takeaways that you've felt different during lockdown?
It gave me the ability to concentrate on myself more.
Which is good. A lot of people needed to do that.
Which is good. You know, as a bodybuilder, you have to be very selfish with your time. So what's changed for me, it's not really a lot, but I've definitely had more time by myself to concentrate by myself in the area that I need to work, which is the gym.
Yeah.
So in actual fact, as a gym owner, it's quite a daunting prospect knowing that I will lose an element of that isolation.
Yeah.
Because as bodybuilders, we isolate ourselves. So
Purposefully.
lockdown's kind of worked in our favour.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be a party pooper. I want to get people back in the gym.
I know.
But my mindset is a little bit worried.
I think that's for a lot of people, even outside of the gym.
Yeah.
People have we've moved past, say 30 days or whatever to build a habit. We've moved past that in lockdown now.
Yeah.
These behaviours, not going to restaurants, not going out, spending more time with your family and your loved ones, looking after yourself more, has become a habit.
Yeah.
I think when we spoke about mental health earlier, the anxiety spike that's going to happen post-lockdown as everybody comes rushing into your world. Everyone's all over the roads. Everyone's at work.
Yeah.
For people that haven't spent the time like yourself developing that bulletproof mindset, it's going to be a very, very challenging time for a lot of people.
It is. And, you know, I'm quite relaxed in the sense that my view towards this virus, I consider myself a healthy guy. You know, I look after myself. So I haven't got any fear or any anxiety about going out in public.
Yeah.
I actually quite like it. It's
nice and quiet.
Doing normal things. It's nice and quiet. Me and the wife went for a coffee, went some food at our favourite pub. I had a meal off the other day, which was nice. One of the only meals I've had in about 16 weeks. I had steak and chips.
Beautiful.
Solid meal.
Yes, baby.
But I went to the shopping centre in Derby, which is called the Inn2 Westfield.
Yeah.
I expected it to be busy. It was dead.
Yeah.
There's nobody there. And I just thought, you know what? The retail sector has been hit hard.
Yeah.
And with people's mindset being what it is, what you just discussed, I don't know whether there'll be many shops that survive.
No.
Which is just sad.
It is sad.
So online shopping is going to be a thing.
It already was, and this has just turned the volume up dramatically. Now we're like, what? Why would I go? I don't know why I would. And I hope, of course, that people are able to sustain their businesses. But there's so many factors against them. It's just...
It is.
What you do is hard to manipulate anywhere else. People come to a centre like this for their mental health, for their health, physical fitness, things like that. A lot of other places, they can get it elsewhere.
Yeah, no.
They don't need to go to the shop if they don't want to.
That's the thing. And I think, you know, coaching, I thought at the start of lockdown would struggle. But in actual fact, people have needed that level of accountability. They've needed that person to keep them on track and manage their mental health.
I was about to say, so predominantly people will see what you do, and any coach, as, well, I don't really need help with fitness. How much do you think, or how much do you consciously put that that mindset, mentoring and or coaching into what you do?
It's massive. You know, I can give somebody a plan. There's your diet, follow that.
Yeah.
There's your training plan, follow that.
Yeah.
But it's the application. And it's the consistency of that application. And that only comes with time and communication between the two parties. Yeah.
I always say to people that they're not paying you for information, they're paying you for implementation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. 100%. Because with the greatest respect to Jamie, respect to me, anybody, in this day and age, information has never been so accessible in life. Yeah. Anything you or I know, or most people know, you could probably access it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you're paying a coach for is, yes, to collect what they believe and know to work, but it's the implementation. Yeah. They're adding that human aspect of helping you take the rubber on the road and actually put the wheels in motion. And especially when they're watching you live your life, it's not necessarily what they hear, it's what they see.
Yeah.
You're demonstrating these principles day by day. And how much of that, because that'll be a big draw for people as well. They could get the information you give from a lot of people.
Of course.
But there's something unique about, like, I walk the walk, I talk the talk. I'm not hiding anything here, guys.
I think that's the case with me as well. I'm a no BS guy, talk straight, tell it how it is. Yeah. You know, very much an open book with how I've got to where I've got. And people do draw in because of that. Someone that tells the truth like that, it's like finding an oasis in a desert. Yeah. Because there's so much ambiguity, complexity, and lies in the world of fitness. There is. That to find somebody like yourself, he's probably almost both blunt
yet incredibly refreshing when people tap into that.
I imagine so. But I think the social media, we'll go back to that again, I think it paints this picture of things that we do being very easy or a lot easier than they are. Yeah. And people buy into that. Yeah. They buy into a picture and think, I want to look like that. Yeah. Can't be that odd. Yeah. And they quickly realise 9 times out of 10, this is hard.
I'm bored now. Yeah.
I'm bored. I'm not getting these results as quick as I wanted.
I think the world has trained us that way, though. So I've got a strong belief in this, and I speak to people regularly about it. The world has trained us on instant gratification. Yeah. So when we were kids, if you were interested in us watching Friends or whatever, interested in something on the TV, you had to wait till next week to watch the next episode. Yeah. If you want to watch the whole series, all 5 series now, you binge it on Netflix. Yeah. If you see something you want, I want that thing in the corner there, order it on Amazon. It's here tomorrow. Yeah. Well, our mind is being trained on instant gratification. I want that car. How much is it? I haven't got the money put on the card. Yeah. I'll have it now. Now. But the body doesn't play that game. And this is a thing why physical fitness and coaching especially is going to be so powerful for a very, very long time. Yeah. Because you can't game it. No. I can take. And people might see you, and I bet you get it a lot, where you go, hey, look, I've been looking at Jamie's thing, right? Yeah. And he takes 4 grams extra of BCA or whatever. I'm like, okay, yeah, great. Jamie's at step 176. Yeah. Okay. You're at step 3. Yeah. I'm asking you to hydrate 3 liters, eat your macros and stretch. Yeah. What Jamie's doing is absolutely bang on the money for Jamie's point in his development. Yeah. Yeah. Some people think that they can just game the system because they're trained that I can have it now, I can have it now, I can have it now. Yeah. And you've said about it already, but it must be like a broken record, trying to teach people that what you've done is the compound effect of 10, 12, 15 years. It is. There's no shortcuts. Like you said, it's 10 to 15 years of hard graft and dedication. Yeah. You've got to build the foundations. Yeah. Otherwise, people very quick. It's like upgrading to a Ferrari. I use this analogy for people. I say, look, it doesn't matter how much more money you spend on the car. Yeah. If you're not putting the fuel in, it's not going to make any bloody difference. Yeah. You forget that anybody you're idolizing, they've nailed it. It's a non-negotiable. Yeah. But for some people, they think you grow out of that, and they go, when you got started, I bet you did this, but you did not now. And you're like, no, I still do that, and then I've also built 7 layers on top of it. Yeah. I'm still doing that. That doesn't swap out. Yeah. When I've got my pro card, I don't have to stop doing the fundamentals. No, it's the whole mindset of the guy that's dieting and he made himself a curry, but because it's homemade ingredients, it's a healthy curry. No, mate, he's still having curry. Yeah. What? You're not allowed this? No, I'm not. Why? Because you're stupid. Yes, and that's eventually the point you need to get to. Yeah. Because people are looking for the secret, and they're like, no, it's just hard bloody work. Yeah. But I think for a lot of people, it's so hard, or it's harder, to access just basic nutrient-dense food. And like you say, the simple education aspect, even though it was said, ironically, the information has never been so accessible. Yeah. It's hard for people to just get over the fundamentals. Yeah. The basics of fitness haven't changed in 50 years. Oh. Do you know what I mean? And they're that boring. Every time some flashy new thing comes out, and I'm just waiting for the Ab Blaster 7000. It's coming next week. You don't need it. Yeah. Oh no. Well, I'm waiting for. You don't need it. Yeah. These electrodes that are going to train my abs. Yeah. What do you think of these, Jamie? And you're bringing it in. You just throw it in the bin. He's like, I just paid 80 quid for that, Jamie. It's a waste. Waste of money. I just did you a favour. Yeah. and that you hit a great point there. This is really boring. It is boring. It's really repetitive, but it takes a certain type of character to find it really enjoyable. Yeah. And I love it. Yeah. You've got to learn to enjoy the process. You have. People think I'll love it when I get there. It's not about getting there. It's about the journey. And you're always on a journey. Yeah, your journey might have been best in the UK. Because the goalpost always levels up. Yeah. It always levels up. So you've got to love the journey, because you're going to spend 99% of your time on the journey. Yeah. Barely any time you're going to reach when you get there, because as soon as you get there, you set the next goal. If you've been doing what I do, or trying to diet, trying to improve your body for a year, and you still hate it, give up. Yeah. Give up now, save yourself time, save yourself a lot of money. But if you've been doing it for 8 or 9 weeks, keep going. Yeah. Because you're literally probably about to break that self-perpetuating cycle. Yeah. The inertia is about, if you've been hitting the fundamentals every day, if you haven't, don't go, but Jamie, I have been doing it 8 weeks. And I'm saying, well, then you've not been doing it 8 weeks. No. I have. You've not. All right? You lie to me all you like. Yeah, I don't know you. It doesn't matter. No. When you go home and you get in bed, you're going to know. You go, and your missus will go, but you came with me last Saturday to so-and-so. Yes, but other than that. No, not other than that. There's no secret. No. Do you know what I mean? I think with clients asked me this the other day. I do like
a live Facebook chat with my clients every week to go over different topics and just try and give them as much info as possible to try and really like hammer it home about what we do and how important things are, as little as they might seem. I give my clients 6 months, 6 months to make a difference, 6 months to get used to the process, to really get locked in to the idea that this is normal life now. Yeah. That this routine of eating what we eat, maybe not enjoying food so much, but that's not as important as getting the results.
Yeah. You'll get the win elsewhere.
Just changing their mindset. 6 months to really change their mindset, lock them in, and then the results really start to come.
Yeah. I think when people do things for 3 or 4 weeks, they're not giving anybody a chance. Then the trainer isn't giving they're not giving themselves a chance, and the client isn't giving themselves a chance. You're both going to walk away very unfulfilled for this experience, which is only in detriment to you and me and whoever. It's going to reinforce that belief that this is all a big lie because I did this 3-week thing for so and so. You weren't going to see it because you did the rubbish bit, as in you started doing the boring habits, but you didn't get the fun bit, which was the result, because you've got to do the rubbish bit before the overlap happens at whatever that is, 3-6 months. And then this bit will start to pull you. Yeah. And then you won't mind the fundamentals because this bit will draw you forwards. But when you're not getting the results and you're only 3 weeks deep, that's it. The inertia is the hardest bit to get over it.
You've got to stick with it.
So, Jamie, you've spoken a lot about the different levels of growth and stuff that you've had to go through and the lessons you've had to learn. Luckily, you've learned them before it costs you too much physically, financially, or anything like that. Yep. But there'll be a lot of people listening here and they've seen your Instagram and they've seen the journey you've been on. But again, they've forgotten it's taken all these years. What advice would you give the Jamie of 10 years ago? Because there are Jamies who are 10 years behind you, probably more now so than there ever has been. What's the biggest advice you'd give to them or give to yourself back then?
I'd get educated quicker. Because if I got educated quicker with nutrition, with how to train properly, with how to rest, manage stress, all these things that complete the whole fitness pie, I think I would have been where I am now so much earlier. Yeah. I'd have more time to be a pro, compete, enjoy life, more time to earn money. Yep. Again, hindsight. Yeah. But I'm here. So obviously I wouldn't change anything now, but if I could, I would just get educated quicker and I would get no tattoos.
Tattoos, really? I ended up covering my body in them. You see a few, Lee Priest always reminded me, covered in them, bless him.
Tattoos are cool. I love tattoos. But for my sport, they just don't add anything. No. If anything, they take away from your physique. So I just wouldn't have any because I'm so deep down this hole that I want to be perfect. True. And tattoos are imperfect.
So learn the fundamentals, don't get any tattoos, and play the long game.
Yeah, definitely. You know, understand that it's still going to take you a hell of a lot of time. Yeah. But with the right knowledge and application, beautiful, you can get there quicker.
So, Jamie, if somebody's heard something today and they think, pretty cool guy, he looks scary as hell when I was looking at him on Instagram, but he actually sounds all right. What's the best way for people to connect with you, either with the gym or with your online coaching?
I would say drop me a DM on Instagram. Okay. That's the quickest way to get a response from me. And then I'll give you my email address or whatever it is, give you the details for the gym. But yeah, the Instagram is aka The Giant, if you don't know already.
You should do. Where have you been? Beautiful. Jamie, thank you for coming on the podcast today, brother. And good luck with reopening the gym.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Take care, my man. And that's it.
Awesome.
Thank you, my man.
Perfect, my man.
Thanks for checking out the Firefighters Podcast this week. Make sure you check out the YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram pages, keeping yourself up to date with the latest podcast as it comes out. We'll see you guys soon.